We're going to begin today with the Pledge of Allegiance. The America Beautiful song will be sung by the United States Army Field Band. The entire band is coming here right today, right up on that screen. And so I'd like to invite retired Air Force, Emery, who will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. No mic needed, that's true.
All right, everybody on your feet. Take it quiet. On the count of three, you will join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Harold.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, full of the fruited plain. God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. America.
Like want to wake up every morning to that, don't you? It's just so soothing, really. Yeah. Thank you to all those served. So true. All right. So I'd like to thank our sponsors. Our title sponsor, the Arizona Department of Veterans Services and the Phoenix VA Healthcare System. Appreciate both of those folks. Our presenting sponsors is Access, the Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System for Arizona. For those of you who don't know, that's our state's Medicaid. A huge number of individuals across Arizona that they help serve and support, and they've been amazing partners with Be Connected. And then we have our partner sponsors, and that's the Arizona Governor's Council on Spinal and Head Injuries, one of our oldest, closest organizations that we've collaborated with. They were a part of, when I speak about Dr. Harold Cudler's involvement, they were involved with us during one of our first trainings that we did back in 2009. New Start Recovery Solutions, Mercy Care, Banner University Family Care, Tri-West Healthcare Alliance, another huge partner with Be Connected, APS, Unite Us Community Cares, University of Arizona Global Campus, Arizona Complete Health, and Raytheon. And then, of course, all of our supporting sponsors as well. And as I mentioned yesterday, but for those of you who weren't there, part of what is really important about sponsorship, not just being able to have fish within fish for our lunch, but also to make it so that those that are not able to afford or because their programs don't have a budget for events like this, but are still doing amazing work, or service members, veterans, their families, members of our military, and folks like that, so that they can attend with us and participate in all that's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and read you just a little story. This is in line with some of the things that we spoke about yesterday, the importance of organizations working together and collaborating. It's key amongst all the things that we do here in this state. It's really that. It's the networking, it's the partnerships, it's the relationships to be able to succeed where we wouldn't be able to succeed apart. So Be Connected was made aware of a veteran with incredible needs through the city of Peoria and the West Valley Vet Center. For those of you who know Dr. Adam McCrae, he did our moral injury discussion yesterday. Really remarkable stuff. That's he's the chief out there. Neighbors in the city had watched a gradual hoarding issue become unmanageable and dangerous. To the point where the veteran could no longer live in his home. His home was now deemed to be unsafe. The veteran had undergone recent surgical procedures. He had no air conditioning, imagine that in Arizona. And the windows were broken. His refrigerator was no longer in working order. He had lost his wallet during his stay in the hospital, and he needed assistance getting an ID, his bank card, Social Security card, military veteran ID, and was all unavailable, and he wasn't able to locate his DD-214 because of the conditions at home. His neighbor stated that his family currently did not want to participate in assistance, so what does that mean? He's alone, completely alone. We talked about that as maybe burning bridges or becoming socially isolated from your family. Whatever the specific reasons were, that's where he was. So he was really just absolutely in a state of homelessness and being fairly lost. Once ACMF spoke with him, a strategic plan was put into place with our Be Connected network in the city of Peoria, the West Valley Veterans Center, variety of other different organizations, and with the combined efforts, large dumpsters were brought and provided, and both the yard and home were cleaned of debris by volunteers. Has anybody ever seen those hoarding shows, things like that? It's rough stuff. That's not pleasant work. I've participated in that as well, and it's rough. It's not pleasant, but let's talk about and advance the story. The veteran was assigned one of the Be Connected navigators, provided guidance in working with the Vet Center, veteran supportive programs, and resolving all sorts of different paperworks. They were working with motor transportation and the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, and really everybody in the West Valley, I think, was touched at this particular time. Through funds from the Bob Woodruff Foundation, the team was able to purchase and deliver a brand new refrigerator so this veteran could begin to live in his clean home and wraparound services. The city of Peoria and the VA were instrumental in being able to help move this forward, but we are continuing to monitor his progress and needs to ensure that he has a healthy, strong foundation for his future. This is a person, folks, that without you, as I spoke about yesterday, I think he may have been lost, and he's not. That's a success. Is it perfect? No. Are all the stories have this perfect conclusion? Nope. But now he has a support system. It's my understanding that his family is starting to have some interest in starting to engage a little bit. He's got some social support systems that are in place, which he did not have before. This is a success, and this is because of you all. All right. I'll keep introducing these stories as they come to us. If you have a story that you want us to know about, especially when it involves multiple organizations, write us and let us know. I'll put it all over social media, okay? Because we want veterans to have a clear understanding of what is happening in the community. There are folks that still have no clue what's happening with Be Connected, with all of you, and what's happening in the everything that's going on. All right, so I'm gonna talk about this. We're really, really honored this year. We've received 2 awards. Some of you are aware or have been involved in this. But the first is this thing called the Distinguished Service Award from the Military Officers Association of America. This is a national award that in the past has only gone to awardees like major national corporations, major national entities. But because of the work of the Department of Veterans Services, the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, the VA, Access, and so many other of our partners, Arizona is noticed. When you go back to DC, they talk about Arizona. When you go to other states, they talk about Arizona. They talk about the model. They talk about Be Connected. They talk about the coalition. They talk about the Department of Veteran Services. They talk about all the different things that are going on, and it's really quite remarkable. And so what they've done is they've essentially recognized what they would never recognize before, which is a regional organization that has had national impact. That's you guys. The second is the Copper Eagle Award from the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame, which goes to a public institution, organization, or corporation whose actions warrant high recognition for services rendered to the Arizona veteran or military community. It is an honor to receive this recognition from the Arizona veteran community right here at home. Mike Wold put us up for this. If you know Mike Wold, tell him thank you from you, okay? Here's the reason why these are important. Essentially important, because it's very easy to say, wow, boy, Thomas is really proud of that. I'm only excited about it, truly. I only said to Mike, I am interested in this for two reasons. The team and the fact that it will build validity amongst the service members, veterans, and their families. Because what is it the most that keeps them separated from us? You got it. Trust. So that's why we have the awards. It's not for the coalition. It is certainly not for me. You guys know me. I'm not that great, right? Maybe for Nicola, not for me. But it's for the team. It's for you guys. It's for the service members, veterans, and their families. Okay.
I'm Representative Stacy Travers, and I serve Legislative District 12. I am also the co-chair of the Veterans Caucus, along with Representative John Gillette, who represents up in Mojave County. And I think what we're doing here this couple of days is so important, and it helps us to come here and to hear the different lectures, to try to help problem solve in as much as we can legislative solutions to some of the problems that you all discuss. That is part of this coalition of military families, of DVS, and of all the other organizations that work together to try to help the veteran community. So what I encourage you to do, and as much as I can, is if you have the opportunity, get onto a mailing list. You can email me at stravers@azledge.gov. Yeah, I know. Take that down. It's first initial and last name at azledge.gov. Let us know that you want to be on the mailing list, and we will let you know whenever we have a Veterans Caucus. They're normally once a month, and we do it by Zoom. We also do it in person. And what we're trying to do now with the caucus is to talk together about a lot of the problems that we have. We know some of the main problems are housing, transition, and the unsheltered. How can we take those conversations with the organizations that are working in those spaces, and how can we turn that into legislation that can help the community writ large? So, so far we've come up with some really good ideas. There are some housing projects that I'm starting to get conversations with. Hopefully we'll be able to bring that to the larger community to get your thoughts on it, to see the viability of it. I know Representative Gillette wanted to try to encourage the potential revitalization of troops to teachers because of the teacher shortage that we have. So that is something that's come out of some of the dialogues that we've had. And so I encourage you all, even if you don't want to come to a caucus meeting, make sure that you reach out to us with any ideas that you have so that we can try to stakeholder these ideas with a coalition of military families, with DVS, with the other organizations to say, hey, do you think this is a good idea? I think it's a good idea, but I might be looking at it through a very small lens. What can you do to share with me why it might be a bad idea, or what it might be a good idea, or how we might even make it better?
Well, welcome back. Good morning. I just want to let you know I'm wearing a mask only because I get to the parking lot and my husband goes, by the way, I just tested positive for COVID. I tested a couple of nights ago. I did not test positive. just so you know. Anyway, I just want to briefly just applaud you for yesterday's efforts. Because of you, this has been a successful, outstanding symposium. And, we're sharing our life experiences, giving accurate information, and sharing our best practices because we want everybody to thrive together for a lifetime. And our mission is focused to do more with more together. So I just want to let you know, it's been very awesome and cool, and it's my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce Governor Katie Hobbs. Ultimately, she had the final say on my appointment to be in her cabinet, and I'm so grateful that she has the trust and confidence in me to protect the life, limb, health, and welfare of our Arizona military service members, veterans, and their families, and my agency personnel professionals who serve them every day. And the governor was born in Tempe, Arizona, and raised right here in the Grand Canyon State. Governor Hobbs has dedicated her life to listening to her community and helping solve difficult challenges for the people of Arizona. A fearless advocate for Arizona, Governor Hobbs has charged me with doing everything possible to proactively, with a sense of urgency, to improve the lives of Arizonans so we all thrive together for a lifetime. She learned the value of service from her parents and from her faith. Starting as a kid who volunteered at church, she has spent her entire life serving and has never stopped. She put herself through college at Northern Arizona University and graduate school at Arizona State University with a combination of work study and scholarships, and then immediately started as a social worker helping everyday Arizonans. Her first job out of college was working with youth experiencing homelessness in Phoenix, and then she helped run one of the largest domestic abuse shelters in the country. During her time as a social worker and running a domestic violence shelter, Governor Hobbs saw firsthand the price Arizonans pay when we do not take care and do the corrective actions to ensure that no one's left behind. She took the next step. She became a lawmaker. She served in the state legislature. She is Arizona's 24th governor, Arizona's 21st Secretary of State, 5th Arizona-born governor, 1st social worker governor, former chief compliance officer for Sojourner Center, graduated from NAU in 1992, holds a master's degree in social work from ASU. She's a mother of 2, of Sam and Hannah. So please stand and let's welcome the governor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here. Please sit down. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm so happy to be here. Arizona has a long history of collaboration in support of our service members, veterans, and their families. As a state, we are nationally recognized for the high level of partnership and cooperation between federal, state, and community organizations that serve these folks. This consistent recognition as a best practice state is due to the focused effort of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, the Veterans Administration, and the hundreds of federal, state, and community organizations who partner with our state's collective impact initiative, the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. The sole mission of our collective efforts is to ensure that there is no wrong door and no wrong person for which a service member, veteran, or family member can turn when they need assistance, and that the right resource, service, or benefit is available at the right time. Given my years as a social worker, I know how necessary that mission is. It is hard work, but it is needed by those who give and gave so much. That work is made possible because of our commitment to this collaboration. Arizona key stakeholders came together in 2017 and launched the Be Connected program. Since that time, Be Connected has had a profound impact on the lives of those in uniform, those who've served, and their families. That's why I'm proud to announce that Be Connected has now assisted over 100,000 service members, veterans, and their families. Our fellow Arizonans who have served our state and nation are being cared for in the way that they should, with all of what is available to them. This milestone is significant because it represents what is possible when we work together. It means that a retired Vietnam veteran from La Paz County who needed a month-long outpatient medical intervention but lacked a place to live while staying in Phoenix was afforded one at no cost and connected to a social support system during his stay to keep him company during his recovery. Facing a daunting problem alone versus facing it with a network of support can make all the difference. Having Be Connected and its network of established partners meant that a Native American woman veteran from the Navajo Nation was provided with food, a clean water supply, and easy access to other services for her and her family during COVID. And it means that transitioning service members and their spouses can confidently decide to make the great state of Arizona their home because they know they have an entire community aligned to promote their successful transition and life post-service. As a social worker, our code of ethics says that social workers should promote the general welfare of society, from local to global levels, and the development of people, their communities, and their environment. And I am so glad that Be Connected program is so aligned with this. As a state, we will continue to be leaders in this effort through the day-to-day work of our state agencies and with continued participation in the VA SAMHSA Governor's Challenge to prevent suicide among service members, veterans, and their families. Nationally, we have the longest continuing operating team of all 54 states and territories, which speaks to the high level of collaboration and the sustainability of this effort. I applaud and support the work that each of you do every day to serve and support our military, veteran, and family population. I know how challenging and important this work is. As a state, we continue to deploy help daily through our Veterans Donation Fund grants to community organizations, Military Family Relief Fund financial assistance to service members, veterans, and their families, Veterans Benefits Counseling, and of course, our Be Connected program. To demonstrate our commitment to veterans, our state agencies have made incredible strides to expand the hiring and retention of veterans, as well as spouses in the workplace through the AZ Hires Vets initiative. We all know that any employer can gain a wealth of skills and knowledge by employing those who served. Hiring veterans using best practices, retaining veterans by providing meaningful careers, and encouraging them to upskill themselves so that they can grow in those careers is the right thing to do. The Arizona Department of Administration, the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, the Coalition for Military Families, and the Arizona Department of Economic Security worked for months to ensure that a career with Arizona is a great choice for veterans. I applaud our state for leading the effort in recognizing and ensuring that veterans have access to the services and support they've earned. Our veterans make Arizona stronger, and I'm committed to continuing the great work that is already being done. Thank you for your continued commitment to Arizona's service members, veterans, and their families.
All right, folks, our state's in good hands. This is a good thing. Governor, you heard the words. Think about the words. We'll be putting that out on social media and having that link to that. Really encourage you to take a look at it. That was pretty cool. All right. So now I would like to introduce Nicola Winkel.
Yeah, sometimes things just work out. We are somehow perfectly on time. So good morning, everyone, and welcome back or welcome today if this is your first day. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nicola Winkel, Project Director for the Arizona Coalition for Military Families and Be Connected. So yesterday I shared about the development and launch of our Be Connected risk reduction strategy. Our risk reduction efforts will complement the responsive nature of Be Connected, which is you call us, our team will pick up the phone, right? To further add that proactive element to focus on those at highest risk. So our goal is to reduce the suicide risk in the lives of individual veterans, and then over time, reduce suicide rates across the entire population. So this morning, I want to take a few minutes to share a few more specifics about what is coming this year and ways for you and your organization to get involved. So I mentioned yesterday that the Arizona Department of Veterans Services and Arizona Coalition for Military Families are one of 80 grantees nationwide for the first year of the VA Staff Sergeant Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program. We're also one of 4 Arizona-based grantees. So Arizona is really well represented in this grant program, and I think it speaks to the number of organizations we have doing innovative work in this space. And the Fox grant is specifically focused on how community-based efforts can complement VA clinical care to enhance suicide prevention efforts across the board. Before I talk briefly about the 2 new lines of service under the Fox grant, I want to provide context for all the services provided by the Be Connected team of teams. So a few reminders. Be Connected is for everyone, all service members, veterans, family members, caregivers, and the people helping them, both those in a professional capacity as well as community helpers. Be Connected addresses all social determinants of health. And our collective goal is earlier intervention. So we encourage everyone to call early, often, anytime. And the person calling or the person you are calling about to help, they do not need to be in crisis to access Be Connected. And in fact, we encourage people to call all across that stress continuum. The line is crisis equipped. So if somebody is in that place, they will get the help they need, but we want them to know they can call anytime. So our incredible Be Connected team provides an array of services and support, including outreach, our support line that I just mentioned, care navigation, and career navigation. And our 2 new services are Coaching into Connection, which brings connection coaches alongside veterans and their families to increase social connectedness. We know social isolation is a huge risk factor for suicide. So these are people who are there to walk alongside people and help them to become more socially connected. And then our high acuity care transition, which is to support people in transition to or from treatment, hospitalization, incarceration, these highly vulnerable times that you have where people can use that support to navigate systems, to navigate care, and make sure they're set up with the services that they need. So our team is here, our Be Connected team of teams, and I want to recognize their fantastic work that they do. I know a lot of them are running around right now, but if there's anyone in the room who's any part of our Be Connected team of teams from any of our agencies, will you please stand up so that we can recognize that? That means all of you. Yep, there you go. So these are the people who answer the phone, take those cases, provide that support day in and day out, and they are the ones who are here to work alongside you to make sure the people you're working with get what they need. So thank you all so much. Okay, so next, the Be Connected Community Core. So since very early on after establishing the coalition, it became clear that if no wrong door is our goal, we have to create more open doors all throughout Arizona. In fact, we knew from the very beginning we would need thousands of doors. And since 2009, we have trained tens of thousands of people in military veteran culture and over 6,500 community members in military veteran resource navigation. Yeah. And that's essentially teaching people how to be an open door for a service member, veteran, or family member to help connect them into our ecosystem of support. And so just like Be Connected risk reduction is a more proactive approach to reducing suicide risk, today we are thrilled to launch the Be Connected Community Core. The BCCC will focus on a more proactive approach to supporting our community of helpers.
How does Be Connected reach, serve, and connect every service member, veteran, and family member in Arizona? Community helpers are key. These are people throughout our community who want to be an open door to connect all who have served to all the available support. Since 2009, the Arizona Coalition for Military Families and Be Connected have trained thousands of people on military veteran culture, resource navigation, and how to be an open door. This includes providers, volunteers, and community members who are a part of the ecosystem of support. The Be Connected Community Core brings additional support to our community of helpers. BCCC is focused on how we engage, equip, support, and connect community members so they can best support and connect our service members, veterans, and their families. BCCC is for everyone. There are no specific commitments other than to be equipped as an open door to connect a person or family into the Be Connected ecosystem. Beyond that, BCCC offers opportunities to learn new skills and knowledge, to engage in projects that align with your interests, and to get the support you need as a helper so you know you are never alone when helping someone, no matter the time or place. Upstream prevention is a community effort. BCCC supports our community of helpers. Join us in being part of the solution.
So our goal with expanding support to community helpers is to ensure all helpers know where to turn to when they need support when helping someone in our community, and to connect more helpers with opportunities to serve, including with many of your organizations and community efforts. And we want to ensure they have access to continued learning. A lot of people attend our resource navigation training and then they're like really excited and they're like, what's next? And so now I'm really excited to be able to share with you what's next. With the support of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, and the Parents Commission, we are launching the Be Connected Community Helper Curriculum, which is focused on equipping community helpers with knowledge about the social determinants of health. Thomas said yesterday, you will hear of almost nothing but social determinants of health, and they are key. And we wanted to have the opportunity to do a deeper dive for our community helpers to understand what is available to support people, and what they need to understand about each of these social determinants of health in a helper role.
Welcome to the Be Connected Community Helper Curriculum. This is your opportunity to better understand the lives of service members, veterans, and their families. This 10-module training series is focused on topics that affect people's health, well-being, and quality of life. Completing this education series will enable helpers to identify challenges and understand why service members, veterans, or their families could be at greater risk for substance use, suicide, and other harmful outcomes. Whether you have served in the military, are a family member, or have no military affiliation at all, this series will give you a better understanding of how to help all service members, veterans, and their families within your community, and how to connect them to the support that can best serve their needs. Thank you for your time and being a part of our community of support.
So we're really excited to launch the Community Helper Curriculum. It is available initially online as a self-paced training, so we will share those links out in the follow-up emails to this event, and it can be used by you, anyone in your organization, and we really invite you to participate in those online trainings and provide us feedback. And then as we go into the future and we are able to do more in-person events, it's possible that we will also have in-person training available as well. So one of the opportunities we have coming up for BCCC relates to our partnership with the National ETS Sponsorship Program. So for years now, we've been saying how important it is for our community to connect with transitioning service members moving to Arizona after they separate from the military. The challenge is, how do you know who is coming, when they're moving here, and where they land, right? There has in the past really been no way to kind of in a systematic way know who's here. And so we are really excited because the ETS sponsorship program is engaging service members across the country, across the world, before they transition, and then partnering with designated coordination sites like Be Connected here in Arizona to match service members with community mentors as they make the transition, to extend the support available to them. So we're really excited. Community members are invited to become a community mentor through BCCC. And then our team is here to coordinate and provide support to the service member, provide support to the community mentors, and these service members and their families will also have access to the huge array of Be Connected services and support as well, in addition to just that welcoming support that is provided by the BCCC member. So that is a very exciting initiative, and we are really pleased to partner with the Arizona Office of Economic Opportunity to support these service members, make sure they can continue careers here, and just build a life here in Arizona. Okay, lastly, this summer marks the launch of our 4th Arizona Veteran Survey. Conducted every 2 years. The Arizona Veteran Survey gives a voice to service members, veterans, family members, providers, and community helpers statewide. We deployed the first survey in 2017, and since then, we've done it every 2 years, and we have received, get this, across the 3 times we've done it, over 25,000 responses. Yeah. Which I'm going to say is pretty unheard of a survey of this type. When you look at the numbers for the individual years, there are a lot of national surveys of this population that don't hit the numbers that we get here in Arizona. So it is really important. This information is helping us track trends over time. It helps inform the work. And so we certainly invite all of you to take it once it launches. And then ask that when the time comes, you push it out to your networks, your communities, and encourage other people to take it. I know everybody's tired of taking surveys. We totally get that. But it is really, really important so that every voice can be heard.
Over 500,000 service members, veterans, and their families call Arizona home. The Arizona Veteran Survey is a comprehensive statewide survey of our military, veteran, and family community. If you are currently serving in the military, are a veteran of any age or era, are an immediate or extended family member of someone who has served, or are a community supporter or provider, we want to hear your voice. The information gathered by the Arizona Veteran Survey has a direct impact on improving the care, services, benefits, and support provided to all who serve and their families. Complete the confidential online survey and share it with your family, friends, colleagues, and community so their voices can be heard too. Start the survey, finish the survey, share the survey.
So there is much more to come, but those are some important highlights we wanted to share with you today. We want to continue to extend support to you, your organizations, and communities as you do the day-to-day work of serving Arizona service members, veterans, and their families. Thank you.
All righty. Yeah, really looking forward to especially the BCCC. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff. As far as the employment stuff, I love the ETS SP. I think that's going to be a fantastic program. and is really going to answer really answer a lot of the questions that we've had for a long time, and be able to help pull more folks into Arizona, and of course be able to make it so that we are keeping as many folks that are exiting off our bases here in Arizona as well. All right, so I would like to introduce you to our panel today. It's a little bit of a reunion, if you will. First, we are honored to have Julia Gussie. She is with us. She is the Senior Advisor to the Undersecretary of the Veterans Benefits Administration. As mentioned yesterday, prior to her current gig in D.C., she ran Veterans Upward Bound over at ASU and was a councilwoman for the city of Maricopa. This is not her first symposium, and we are really glad to be hearing from her today. Yay! Come on up. We also have Dr. Maureen McCarthy. She has been a true champion for Be Connected and is in collaboration in about 100 million different ways. She's been incredibly supportive, really more so than maybe even we deserve. I don't even know. Yeah, she's just really quite remarkable. You'll find that out in a second. She previously served as the Chief of Staff for the Phoenix VA and now serves as the Chief Medical Officer for VA Vision 7. Which is not 22, which is what we are. So she's back east, but she still comes out because she loves Arizona and she knows what all of our relationships are. And so she was instrumental in the formation of Be Connected and continues today to be one of our biggest champions. And then we also have Dr. Harold Cudler. He's you can clap. Thank you. Please. We also have Dr. Harold Cudler, and he comes to us from Duke University, but before that he held numerous positions within the VA. Our first connection with Dr. Cudler takes us all the way back to 2009, just months after the launch of the coalition, which was launched in August of 2009. Our team partnered with Dr. Cudler to conduct a training for community mental health providers on PTSD and traumatic brain injury. The success of this first training laid the groundwork for training literally tens of thousands, and by my count, I think we've probably taught somewhere around 95,000 individuals military culture in some way, shape, or form across Arizona. And what that does is, it's important because what that does is it bridges the civilian military gap that we've heard about for so many years. Other states, that is a major issue. Here, it's far less of an issue because more people understand military culture training, and Dr. Harold Cudler was a huge part of that. So we are pleased to welcome you all back to Arizona. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Maureen. Oh, I'm coming down first? Okay, I go down, you go up. All right.
To walk up two sides.
Good morning. Yes. This is a bit of a welcome home kind of event for me. I hadn't been back for a couple of months. I'm now living in Maryland, the state of Maryland. We moved out there to take on this position, but it's been a very exciting position that I've taken on. It's a political appointee position, so I was appointed by President Biden, so I only have a 4-year term there, but excited to be back home here and start collaborating with my family. Ustedes son mi familia. That's what you all are, my family.
Oh, well, again, it's so nice to be back here. 2009 was a long time ago. I didn't recognize the airport at all. But mostly I have kept track from a distance of the work that's been going on in Arizona. And this is as strong and dynamic a network as exists anywhere in the country. And it's wonderful. And to think that I played a role in it, I got to say, every time I hear No Wrong Door, I know I had a slide on that. I didn't invent it either. But it's just wonderful to see this kind of work going on. I want to congratulate everyone, especially Thomas and Nicola. This is amazing. But let's get on with the panel.
Okay. So, hi, everybody. It's wonderful to see old friends and new, to be back with all of you. You know that this program and all of you are very dear to my heart. I kind of was asked to move to the Vision 7 area, and, you know, it made me realize how much I miss the collaboration that is part of Be Connected, just in its entirety. So know that I carry you with me, and also a desire that we could somehow recreate in the other states that I work with the kinds of collaboration here. When Thomas asked me about this panel, the first question he said is, where do you want it to go? And the first image that came to my mind was about, there's a Gauguin painting in Tahiti, and it's the title more than the painting that sticks with me. Like, who are we? Where do we come from? And where are we going? And I do think that that's been kind of the theme for who are we, where do we come from, and where are we going for this conference. It's really important to know our history, to know where we are, and to hear the great ideas that Nicola just put forward about where we're headed. I think that I love the idea about the ongoing support for our network of providers and all who support. So when I think about who are we and where do we come from, relationships is probably the part that I think about the most. I think about our shared commitments, governmental commitments across, God forbid, the federal government and the state government and the local governments, and how sometimes that can be so challenging. But, it has managed to work out here in a very positive way. And I think it's because of the commitment that people have in putting veterans first and not worrying about who gets the credit for things, but instead thinking, what's the goal and where are we headed? I think about innovation as a part of it, and I also think about glue. And I'm just going to start for a second by, I was thinking about what are the images, and we each have our own way of thinking about the images of this program. The one that came to mind was a human chain, and I think about, you remember that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Who hasn't seen the movie? It's on at Christmas time hundreds of times, and there's a place where the young brother of the person in the starring role falls through the ice skating, and the protagonist says, "Let's form a human chain," and they rescue the son. And I think that image, the other son, the younger son, and that younger son goes on to serve in a very heroic way in the military. And if the first son weren't there to make that chain, he never would have been able to do what he did. And to me, that's what we are in so many ways. We make these connections a lot like a human chain, not too different from the Baltic chains when the Soviet Union broke up, but also the recent human chain that was in Nashville after the school shootings. I think that, human chains come from different ways, but the image for me is a human chain. So let me get our other panelists involved in this symbolic discussion. Julia, I know you're doing some really significant work focused on integration, and you have two IPTs, which is VAEs for Integrated Project Teams. We have lots of acronyms, as you may have heard before. So tell us about what's going on at the highest level of VA nationally, integrating things.
Yes. We are also working on a social determinants of health, and unlike the 10 health buckets, I will call them, that you all presented with Be Connected, we only have 5, but they all seem to fit. They all intertwine with each other. One of the things that the 2 projects that we're currently working with is the social determinants of health and well-being. They both mesh into each other, and this is the first time that we're collaborating throughout VA, which is VBA, the Veterans Benefits Administration, VHA, the Health Administration, and the National Cemeteries. We often forget our national cemeteries. And if I leave anything with you today, please remember our national cemeteries, because every single one of you that served is eligible to be buried within national cemeteries. This is a topic that many of us don't want to broach because it's not a very happy topic, but it is a topic that you all earned these benefits. Please use them. One of the things that we were discussing as a group is the fact that, as you mentioned, we all have different images. My image is that of a web. Imagine a web that goes linear from one point to another, which is 2 connections. How strong of a web would that be? Not very strong. Now, when you have a circle of support, where the web is connected from different support systems, you have a much stronger web, and that veteran that tries to, comes to us within a much stronger web will never fall through. Will never fall through those cracks. And I just want to, out of show of hands here, or if you could stand up, if I mention the social determinant of health that I'm working on, if you could please stand up, I'd love to see the numbers that we have represented in this room. So food insecurity, is there an organization here that addresses food insecurity? Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have a group that addresses housing insecurity? We have a larger number of housing insecurities, which we understand is a big issue right now. Transportation needs. Do you address the transportation needs of our veterans? Thank you very much. Well, we have a larger group of transportation needs. And that's the one group that, it always hits us at the VA. How are we connecting with those transportation needs? Utility difficulties. It seems to be the same group of individuals that we've addressed in the past. And the last is interpersonal safety. Yes. Thank you very much for standing and being recognized. The fact that the VA is on the same track as Be Connected is. And one of the things that I'm here on a mission, actually, I'm here to collect as much information because we want to utilize Be Connected, and I had talked to Thomas about it. It's a perfect example of what works in a community, and you all have created a web that no veteran should fall through that web. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Harold, you've been involved for a long time with caring for veterans. We met probably a good 15, 20 years ago. You are a psychiatrist by training, lots of experience in committees. Can you hold that up, that little, yeah.
Part of the story.
Yeah, tell the story now.
Oh, yeah. Well, so being a psychiatrist, so I trained in medical school graduated in 1979, finished residency in 84, did an extra year, but I wasn't left back. Nowhere in medical school, even though the war had only ended a few years earlier, no one ever talked about psychological trauma. There wasn't a single lecture. It wasn't an issue. We never were taught to ask people about it. We never taught to ask people about military service. It just wasn't medical. When I got my first job, it happened to be at the VA. I wanted to pay the mortgage and do psychoanalytic training. I figured a few years in the VA, I'll graduate my analytic degree, get my couch, and I'm done. But somewhere between, graduating, which the analytic, I'm the president of the Psychoanalytic Center of the Carolinas, so I'm still involved with that. But learning about psychological trauma in those analytic studies, meeting veterans of Vietnam, World War II, Korea. I had two groups of ex-prisoners of war that I inherited when I came in 1984 to the Durham VA. I began to realize there was a lot more to this than I had been taught, and I would have to learn it from veterans. Because I was involved early in PTSD research and advocacy for the idea of PTSD, which many VA psychiatrists said, I just don't believe in that. And it took quite a while for that to change. I became the co-chair of the Undersecretary for Health Special Committee on PTSD, which reported directly to Congress on VA's research, education, clinical, and benefits programs for PTSD. The whole reason it was a committee created by Congress was congressional concern that VA wasn't going to be paying attention, especially as we weren't at war. And there is an amnesia that sets in after each war. And I came to realize in the course of working with that committee that we could never solve the problem of PTSD simply by having patients come to us when they realized that we were there for them and we would give them pills or even psychotherapy. That wasn't going to be enough. It could help, it is helpful, it's very important, but it's not enough. And in fact, to get to the box, I picked this up. This happened to be, I didn't know these were still floating around. This is Sesame Street's Talk, Listen, Connect series. This is one of 3. The first is about a parent going on deployment and how the family deals with that. The second one is a parent returns with visible or invisible wounds, including PTSD and traumatic brain injury. The third one is the death of a parent, including the death of a parent by suicide. To finish my talk, so I spent all these years in psychiatry and getting around teaching and writing and all this stuff and having some wonderful experiences in VA central office. But one day my wife and I drove out to Camp Lejeune, not too far from where we live in North Carolina, to see a USO production of the Sesame Street program. And we couldn't park our car because there were lines of Marines with their children going for blocks and blocks and blocks. They put on 4 extra shows. My wife and I never sat down all day long. All we did was stand at the doorway, help entertain people online, hand out copies of this and little toys that Sesame Street brought. And it occurred to me that in all of my work as a psychiatrist, and all the people I've taught, all the things I've written, I would never accomplish as much in terms of getting connections than through Sesame Street. And I think that's what you folks are doing every day. It's what we just saw in the vision of the next level of making connections. So, that's the message I'd want to carry back.
Thank you, Harold. I have that on my shelf in my office, and nobody pays attention to the other books. They all pay attention to this because it's one of those innovations that's really important and speaks to where we really need to be helping. So thank you. I'd like for us to talk a little bit more about Be Connected and the very special statewide effort. The whole of Arizona, as our State Director of Veterans Services, Dana Ullman, said yesterday, the whole of Arizona. How much it has grown and flourished for 13 years through a pandemic and many other crises, including some within VA. We spoke, yes, about our symbolism, but we also wanted to talk for a minute about what makes it special. There are other states that start efforts like this, modeled on what we do, but for some reason they may start with a bang and end with a whimper, to quote T.S. Eliot. The whimper part is really discouraging when we're trying to help other people do what's the right thing and kind of seize the energy and the momentum that is here in Arizona. So let's talk for a minute about what's special about this collaborative, if we could. I know there are the people and the connections, and there are certainly Thomas and Nicola, who for me, are the glue of this collaborative. And I think you're right to applaud and stand. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas and Nicola, for what you do. It's probably not feeling complimentary to be called glue, but just so you know, I mean that. I mean that with incredible admiration for what you do. So I'm going to turn it over to the other panelists. What's special about this collaborative that we need to help other states that are trying to do well? What can they carry from us?
I'm going to give you some perfect examples. The great thing is that you have a representative now, and there's a VA representative from Arizona. We were working on a project on, this was April of last year, April is formerly incarcerated. We're working on a project to find formerly incarcerated veterans, make sure we were collaborating with Department of Labor to make sure that they were getting jobs. It's very difficult for a formerly incarcerated individual, period, to find a position. Nevertheless, if you're a veteran, it's even as difficult, if not, to find a position. So we were working with Department of Labor, and I reached out to my collaboration within this organization to see if we could find any veterans that were formerly incarcerated who are successful now. And we did. We found an individual. I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't mention that I would be speaking about him. But at CRRC, and this is an individual that's actually working at CRRC. He received a VA position at CRRC. He's formerly incarcerated. And he was a perfect example of it can be done through connections. Not only through, it wasn't through our Department of Labor connections, but through connections of organizations like this. We are forming those collaborations and making sure that our veterans, our formerly incarcerated veterans, are getting the services that they earned. Another example is we were working on a project to reinstate veterans that have been deported veterans because for some reason or another they never when they were on active duty, they never received their citizenship. For some reason or another, we couldn't understand why, but there were deported veterans in Mexico that were needing VA care, desperately needing VA care. So once again, I collaborated with my connections here in the state of Arizona. We worked with Department of Homeland Security and made sure we found those veterans, and we the word appreciate. They became U.S. citizens. We repatriated. There you go. Forgive me. So we made sure that we were getting this collaboration. But without the collaboration of all you all in this room, that wouldn't be possible. Where are we finding these veterans? How can we help them? And the VA is a huge institution, but it's boots on the ground organizations like Be Connected that are getting the work done. In reality, you all are the ones who are getting the work done, because VA is just it's a way for you to get the work done. But at the same time, without you finding those veterans and without you connecting with those veterans, this work can't be done. And I'm going to leave you with this last little story. I go around the country and I speak to different groups, and they don't have to be veteran collaborates with veteran groups. But I do this, and I'm not going to do it with you all because I think you know where I'm going to go with this. I have them close their eyes, envision a veteran. What does that veteran look like? What is that veteran wearing? What is that veteran, does the veteran have a ball cap on? Are they in a wheelchair? Envision that veteran. Now open your eyes. Describe that veteran to me. 99.9% of the time, they describe a young man, who is either missing a limb, or they envision their grandfather who served, who is elderly, and they remember them from having served in the military, but not once do they envision a female veteran. And we are the invisible veterans that, through collaboration through the VA, the Center for Minority Veterans and the Center for Women Veterans, we're making sure that our female veterans are coming out of the shadows, making sure that they're utilizing their services. Thank you.
Yeah, I would. I think I lost.
Go ahead. It's good.
Okay, I would add to that. I've, along with Thomas and Nicola, I've been to the SAMHSA meetings in Washington, get 20 or 30 states and territories together, work out strategic plans and all. I've been a mentor to other states, and I've visited a lot of other states. And I've seen programs rise and fall. Very few programs, really no programs, except in North Carolina, as long as, I don't want to naysay the governor, but we've been doing it since 2006. But the fact is that even we've had trouble. And I'll tell you where I think we lost our way a little bit, and we're now revamping our program, asserting some of our principles. In that what made us helpful and what made us powerful was an entrepreneurial spirit, strong, committed leadership, but always the dynamic interaction with the exact people who are in this room. Veterans, people who care about veterans, organizations that had shared interests, housing, food insecurity, service animals. Long before I ever got interested in service animals, people were bringing their service animals, and I became interested in service animals. I learned a lot as a psychiatrist about things from these folks. I think what has made this group so enduring and still growing is that dynamism. You guys are nurturing that dynamism all the time. And what I've seen in places that really kind of either fizzled or went off to the wayside is they slowly became institutionalized, they became more top-down. Somebody else said, maybe a government agency or a group, I'm going to make it easy for you, I'm going to take it over, just you show up, everything will be like it was. And that was the end. So nurturing the dynamism that's in this room, that's out in that waiting area with all the different groups, is, I think, your secret sauce, and I would say keep it strong.
Thank you, Harold. And I know that we have lots of images, secret sauce and webs and human chains and all of that, but I just want to go back to the web for a minute. And, where do we need to go? One of the places we need to go further is to make sure whoever needs that web has access. And I know there's barriers from rurality or barriers from lack of trust, barriers of all sorts. And when I think about where we need to head, we need the ambassadors Nicholas spoke about that are out there everywhere, but we also need to keep thinking about who we're not reaching that we could help as a group. And I just want to leave it at that, if that's okay. But thank you for your attention. Thank you all for what you do. Thanks for inviting us, and enjoy the rest of the day. The conference has been really wonderful. Kudos to all the speakers. Thank you very much.
All right. One more round of applause. Thank you very much. I could listen to these folks for days. That's going to be the next symposium that we do. It's just 3 days of them. Oh, I guess I added a whole day, didn't I? Yeah. You guys ready for another whole day? Add on to the... You guys ready for another whole day? Oh, all right. We're done. Just kidding. All right. Have a really nice video. Okay. Now, I want to share a video. This is a segment of a video from Monica Diaz. She is the executive director of the VA Homeless Program Office.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Diaz, and I'm privileged to be the Executive Director of the VA Homeless Program Office. I also have the honor of being a military spouse. Thank you for being here today. VA is lucky to partner with the Arizona Coalition for Military Families in the fight to end veteran homelessness and suicide. When your wonderful organization invited me to speak today, I knew exactly whose story I needed to share. It was Billy's. In 2010, Billy brought a small ranch in Arizona. He was newly married. He had just been promoted to a high-ranking position at a worldwide law enforcement agency. He was making good money, traveling a lot, and doing what he loved. But for years, Billy knew he had a problem. He did not tell anyone, but something in his brain told him it was time to start drinking when he arrived at his desk every morning. And his brain told him to keep going all day. He lived like this for years. But in his career, heavy drinking was part of the culture. No one seemed to notice that Billy was struggling. Within 2 years, Billy had received 2 DUIs, spent time in jail, and lost his license, insurance, and ranch. His marriage fell apart. So did his relationship with his children. He was forced to resign from his job, a great job he held for more than 20 years. After getting another DUI, Billy remembers standing in front of the mirror in the jail and saying, "God, please help me." The next day, he went to his sister's house, where he spent the night sober for the first time in years. He remembers waking up next morning, staring at his gun. Today, Billy remembers the moment clearly as the best thing I ever did not do. When we talked to Billy a few months ago, he told us, "I am happier today than I have ever been in my life." I am so hopeful for what we will accomplish together when we keep following these voices. We will save lives. We will help our veterans know that their sacrifices have not been and will never be forgotten. We will ensure family members and military families know that at VA in Arizona and across the country, groups like Arizona Coalition for Military Families are dedicated to making the services and support available to them. We will help this country fulfill the promise it owes to every veteran. And we will remember the charge of the late Arizona Senator and Naval Officer John McCain, who reminded us, in America, we change things that need to be changed. Each generation makes its contribution to our greatness. The work that is ours to do is plainly before us. We do not need to search for it. Thank you for being here today, for helping change what needs to be changed, for contributing to the future of our nation, and for following the voice inside you, for urging you to keep fighting for our veterans. I have my sincere gratitude to all of you. Thank you for having me.
So just as a contextual thing, this is National VA. Julia's National VA. I want to reinforce that. We've got other VISNs. We've had other, that people are paying attention to what's happening in Arizona. As I spoke about yesterday, that's you. That means they're paying attention to you. Thank you for everything that you are doing.